And we are letting it all hang out, episode number 39. Where today we're going to discuss. We've had a couple of weeks of some pretty cool webinars and calls from our internal system groups, leaders, and stuff like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we've learned on that, a little bit about the digital revolution, and about what to expect in the future in our industry and the opportunities that are presented to us. But let me introduce a few of our panel today. We got Sandra Lemming from Down Under. How are you doing today, Sandra?
I'm really good, thanks, Julie. Really, really good. It's actually, 5 o'clock in the morning as usual for me.
Awesome. And you have slept on, I'm sure. I almost had another Down Under, Adam. I can't think of his last name right now. He contacted me last week about coming on, but I couldn't get hold of him today. He's probably sleeping though.
Yeah.
Probably.
You need to be.
There's one person in Australia that sleeps. Miss Leslie Lawler, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me on again today. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. This is going to be a really good topic. Unfortunately, I missed the first founders, and I haven't managed to catch up with it. Busy doing other things at the moment, but I heard the second one. It was so funny because Stuart's saying, I'm not going to make this. We're going to get through this really, really quickly. I'm not going to keep you too long today. And this is
2 hours later.
2 hours later, I bailed out.
2 hours later, they're still going at it, you know.
They did say that. That was the first sentence out of their mouth. Well, we did it last week, so we're not going to keep you too long.
That's
but,
right, yeah. So you can get off and get on and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
I'm going to roof my house real quick. We are going to be joined by the dynamic duo today. The mother-daughter duo. Is Jade going to join us today?
You'll be here any moment.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. And then we have, back by popular demand, Mr. Steve Greenhouse. He's been busy working his system for the last couple of weeks. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you. Yes. I'm actually out in my salubrious other office. Hi, Jade. How are you, darling?
Good. How are you?
So you're out
good, thanks.
Steve, or?
Yeah. Not
awesome.
for much longer. But,
it's good. You got a good unit to yourself there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Laptop lifestyle.
That's the one.
And Miss Jade Lawler, how are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, look at you, all done up. Just a second ago, you were. Just
in a towel.
You need to be very careful there. You're stepping on thin ice.
We are on different.
Just a minute ago, you were fresh and young and beautiful. Just like you are now.
Lady Jade, you've been out busy doing stuff?
Yeah, really busy at the moment. Tend to work Tuesday night, so it's a pleasure to be able to come on tonight and not have to work.
Here you're going on a little holiday here soon? A little vacation, perhaps?
I am. First stop, Momentum Day.
More holidays than Santa.
Yeah, she does. She does. She says she needs this holiday. I can't believe it. She's had about 6 weeks off.
I know, yeah.
Who's had 6 weeks off? Who's had 6 weeks off?
Jade. She's had 6 weeks near enough in Spain in April, May, and a bit of June.
Good for you. Living the dream. Good for you.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Well, as Sandra was mentioning earlier I got everybody right? Yep. As Sandra was mentioning earlier, she's on a constant holiday ever since she's retired from driving a cab and taking her business into her own hands. She is now constantly on holiday. How does that feel, Sandra?
It's freaking awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome. To be quite honest, I mean, honestly, you tell me how many people can go, retire from work and just feel like that they're permanently on holidays. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. I can do whatever I want, I can sleep whenever I want. I went to bed at about 4 a.m. in the morning yesterday and woke up at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And, I just do what I want when I want. And if I want to shut up, I stay down the Gold Coast and watch movies down there and catch up with people down there and go up the Sunshine Coast and say hi to people up there. It's great.
Yeah, that's something that people work their entire lives. I mean, literally, they work their entire lives to get to that point. You know, they go through school throughout their whole childhood, then they work their entire life to get to a point where they could do what you're doing at such a young age. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today is how the old model of, the traditional model of, going to school, getting a job, getting a good job, working for somebody else for 30, 40 years, retiring with a gold watch and hoping that your retirement plans and your pensions, which no longer really exist, carry you out the next, we're living forever. We're not even dying anymore. So carry you on for another 30, 40 years. And that seems to be a pipe dream nowadays. And Steve, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and if you don't mind, I think you had that similar experience where, one day you woke up and you're like, well, I need to start, poop or get off the pot, if you will. Because I think that's a little background in your story.
I watched my dad work very hard and very consistently for ICI for over 45 years. And when they retired and they gave him his gold watch, actually the gold has rubbed away now and it makes your wrist go green. They couldn't spell his name right.
Awesome.
They spelled his name incorrectly. And, he had done so much work for that company, and they didn't even know who he was. And at the end of the day, you have to understand, when you work for a company, you will get what the job is worth. You will never get what you're worth. And I remember being in hotels and being really stressed, and my dad saying, just calm down. You're letting the job take over your life. I said, you've no idea what I'm going through. You don't understand. You were in an industry, I'm in a hotel, it's completely different. And he went into the kitchen and he grabbed this big old pint pot and filled it with water. And he came in and he said, stick your finger in there. And I went, what? I haven't got time. He said, put your finger in there. And I put my finger in. He said, right, take it out. And he said, that glass of water represents your hotel. And your finger is you. Show me the gap you've left now that you're dead. And I looked at him and I thought, Jesus Christ. Because there's no way that business can afford to stop just because one person is no longer there.
Right.
No.
So you're never as valuable as you think you are. And I think as long as we go out and we convince ourselves of our own self-importance, the only time we're important is when we have real people who look after themselves depending on us. And I have a family. And I'd set things into place for that family, and it fell apart through no real fault of mine. I suppose I took my eye off the ball a little bit in terms of investment, but you've just got to do something about it. I could lie and kick and scream on the floor and suck my thumb, and it's not going to change anything. And there's no
like an hour.
Angry. I've been able to hook into people that can see over the hill. And my hope is that by grabbing hold of their shirt tails, they're going to take me where they're going, because I can't see over the hill. I just have to have faith that their vision is far enough in front that it will be. And if we stand on the shoulder of giants, in that famous phrase, you can see where we're going.
Yeah.
And it's pretty scary.
Yeah, and eventually, once you stand on that shoulder long enough, you get your own vision of where you want to be. And
Absolutely.
You get direction on your own at that point. But you can't really get that when you're working for a large industry or a large corporation. All you can see is as far as they can see, and they're not letting you see any further because they don't want you to be
doing your job. They don't want you to see the real.
Yeah, they don't want you to be smarter than them. They don't want you to be better than them. They don't want you to know more than them. They want you to know just what you need to know. Keep you safe in your little box, and you're fine. And
Absolutely.
It's a true leader that teaches something beyond them. And
have you ever seen crabs in a bucket?
Yeah. But why don't you go ahead and recite it?
If you put 3 or 4 crabs in a bucket, they will all sit on the bottom and do nothing. If one tries to climb up and out of the bucket, the others don't think, hey, we can do that. They pull them back. They stop them from escaping. And that's exactly the same thing. You try and go into your work, oh, I've seen this business, it's really good, and whatever. They go, no, you don't want to do that, mate. Not because they don't want it to be true, but because they don't want you to have what they're too scared to reach for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if ever you start like that, you will get a negative impact. And just think of a bucket full of crabs, because the others haven't got the guts to reach up and pull themselves out. They could all escape if they work together.
Yeah.
Dead
Yeah.
easy.
That's a great analogy, because that is exactly what you end up getting a lot when you do start your own. When you branch out on your own and you start your own business and you come up with your own ideas. And I mean, how many times have you come up with an invention or just an idea in your head, and you even to somebody you love, you brought it up to someone you love, like a spouse or a great friend or a family member, and they're like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Yeah. But it's not. But even as passionate and as how you feel in your gut that it's right, you still let it go because someone else said it wasn't smart, or it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And the amount of time I've spent, I wouldn't say convincing my wife, but running through things with my wife and saying, "Look, I really think this is a go. This will work." Yes, dear. And you think, God, what do you mean, yes, dear?
Yeah. Why aren't you as enthusiastic as I am?
Yeah. And I just get, yes, dear. And I think, well, give me a bonio, pat me on the head, and just make my tail wag and I'll disappear. Yes, dear. It's just, I'm going to change our lives. Yes, dear, of course you are, dear. How patronising.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm doing it all for. Yes, dear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's one surefire way to get that yes, dear. To be like, oh my gosh, you're right, dear. And that's to excel and succeed and to do it.
I'm going on the phone tomorrow. Do you want to come? Oh, yes, dear.
Yeah, yes, dear. Do you want that new car? Yes,
dear. Where are we going? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to replace that nice Mitsubishi Lancer I just bought you 2 years better? Oh, yes, dear.
Of course. Not so patronizing anymore.
Yeah.
But I get it. I mean, and it's not because they're doing it because they don't love us, and I think some people are trying to be overprotective and bring us back into that where they feel comfortable, back at the bottom of that pot, back in the bottom of that bucket where they're comfortable. It's nice and cozy. Everybody knows each other. Why do you want to be different? Why do you want to stand apart?
Yeah.
I've always been a little different, I guess.
Even our mothers, I've done a blog on this, but our mothers protect us. The thing is, when they're teaching you to walk and you fall over, they don't say, "Oh, just lie down, you've tried, that'll do."
That'll do.
No, they don't. They pick you up and they kiss you better and they say, "Oh, it doesn't hurt, go on, try again." "Oh, you've fallen over." They pick you up but as soon as you can walk, anything else that you try and do is, "Oh, don't do that, you might hurt yourself." No, get down off that tree, you'll fall and hurt yourself. You hadn't even out falling. You're 3/4 of the way up an oak tree, you're absolutely loving it, you're jumping from branch to branch, and your mum comes out and says, "Be careful, you'll fall."
And then
suddenly you're focused on falling.
Yep.
And then when you're 19, 20, "Well, be careful when you drive." "Yes, Mum." "Don't invest in that, it'll go wrong." "Yes, Mum." And she's only saying it because she loves you. "Yes, Mum, you don't understand." "I mean, you don't understand."
Yeah, I totally get that. Here. They are protected.
They are.
See, I got the opposite when I was a kid from my mum. I got the total opposite. Yeah, I mean, if I was a kid and I fell over and grazed my knee, and I mean, there was one time there I took a spill off my push bike. I'd snuck out and I was in my 90. I was probably about 10 or 11. I'd snuck out because we lived on a farm, and I'd gone riding with the other kids and we were having a race down the hill. Well, yeah, lo and behold, a couple of us staffed it. When we staffed it, my face just happened to hit this nice big sharp rock right above the eye.
Awesome.
And split open, and I stood up. The other kids went white. I looked down. There was blood all over my 90s. I had to try and sneak back inside, but my mum caught me, and all I got out of her was a good smack across the ass and get into the bathroom. And then she did not give me anything for the pain. She just cleaned it up and she was stitching it up. And I'm trying not to cry. And she's like, "Suck it up, princess. Suck it up." All I ever got out of my mother, "Suck it up, princess. Suck it up."
You ever see those commercials where the Foster's beer, where it's like beer, and then Foster's Australian for beers? That's the same attitude. Compassion.
Oh, no.
Australian for compassion. Suck it up, princess.
Suck it up, princess. Suck it up. And of course, because I grew up with that, I was the same with my kids.
So, well, in retrospect, do you think that now, because of that upbringing, do you think that you're more apt to taking more risks because you know that the consequences are there, but whatever the consequences are, you have to take you have to deal with them yourself. You're not looking for somebody else to take responsibility for them. Does that give you a little bit of an edge, maybe?
I think it gives me a lot of an edge because I don't really. I mean, I know there's consequences there, but I don't really care. It's like, well, if you fall over, just get back up, dust yourself off, and suck it up, princess. Just suck it up, and move on to the next thing. And I mean, the morning of the Founders Call, the Founders 2.0 call, which we all got really excited about, I had only had 2.5 hours sleep before that Founders Call. And so I got up with my alarm and I made a cup of coffee. Well, I made 2 cups of coffee and had a swig of aloe juice, and I went outside and sat in the cold. And by crikey, it was cold. And I was sitting there and I'm like, suck it up, princess, suck it up. And the call started and I got really excited. And at the end of the call, I ended up writing a blog post and I called it Suck It Up, Princess.
That's great.
Because there was so many other people who's like, oh, I missed the call, I slept in, I was too tired, I went to bed at 10 o'clock and it was too late for me. And I'm thinking, 10 o'clock, I went to bed at freaking 2 o'clock in the morning, I was up at 4:30, and 4:30 was too freaking early for you. Suck it up, princess, just suck it up.
Yeah, I get it.
I did. I passed it on to my daughter, and I've passed it on to my grandkids. And now my 6-year-old granddaughter, she was at school there a couple of weeks ago, and a kid fell over, grazed its knee, and the kid got up and she looked at it. And she's like, "Oh, you're not dead yet, so just suck it up. You'll be fine." And of course, who got into trouble for that? I got into trouble for that.
You gotta take the good with the bad.
You didn't think it was appropriate for a 6-year-old child to be telling another kid to suck it up.
Until they grow up, and then they'll realize that it was appropriate.
Yeah.
They realize that I was only trying to help. But that's a huge point. I mean, a lot of people are so ready for other people to bail them out. Like, oh, it's so easy to make an excuse. And that's why I like with this 30-day challenge that we're doing right now, there's that sense of accountability, where it's not just yourself. People, like Steve said, Steve's not even doing it, and he's just watching people, and he's like, well, I've seen people already drop out. Yeah. And there's a sense of accountability where a lot of people are just like, well, I'll just sneak out and no one's ever going to know I left, or no one's not going to know I did it, because they don't have that sense of self-accountability. They're always looking for somebody else to say, oh, come on, you can stay awake, or 3 hours of sleep is plenty. You don't need to do that, or you should do this before you go to sleep, or wake up early to watch this, or whatever your task is. A lot of people are so easy to walk away from it because they don't have that sense of accountability and they don't think anybody's watching.
But they're watching.
Yeah, everybody's watching. I mean,
they're watching themselves.
What you do when nobody's watching.
Well, I can tell you, I do watch, and I noticed all you guys, and I noticed when you have missed posting on your business pages for 2 days. I noticed. I'm watching. Just remember that.
Right. Steve,
I can't post in groups again, and I notice.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that just don't understand the fact that even if nobody was watching, you should be watching yourself. I mean, and this business, and what we're going to get to talk about here in a minute, is the fact that being an entrepreneur is all about self-accountability. There's nobody's going to say like, oh yeah, you should pay that bill, or yeah, you should write that sales letter, or you should make that video, or you should put that post up, or you should create that ad. No one's telling you to do that. I mean, every once in a while we get leadership on there that suggests that you should be doing that, but there's nobody going to slap you in the back of the hand if you don't do it. The only thing that's going to slap you in the back of the hand is your bills accumulating, the fact that you're not making any money, and that you're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit. And that's going to be your slap in the back of the hand. That's the I quit, this doesn't work, is amongst all these people that are making it work, you can't make it work, so it's got to be somebody else's fault. There's no way it could be you. There's no way I didn't succeed. It's somebody else's fault.
Yeah. And that's what I think people do. They have this. They start with excuses, and then they jump into the blame game, and they'll blame everything else for the reason why they failed. because it gives them an easy out. So they don't feel like they've quit. You know, they'll tell everybody that, you know, everything else was to blame, and it wasn't their fault. They did everything right. But, you know, they've given themselves the excuse, and then they've jumped into the blame game. And no matter what it is, and I mean, I've met, you know, I know a guy who has had 7 businesses, and out of all of those 7 businesses, at least one of them should have worked. One of them was a lawn mowing business. And I mean, you know, his excuse for that was that, oh, it wasn't the right name, wasn't a good company, because it's a franchise, you know, blah, blah, blah. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, he bought a business and thought he was going to retire. So he was sitting at home on his ass watching TV, drinking his beer and smoking a cigarette and not taking phone calls and booking jobs. And when he did book jobs, he'd, you know, oh, I don't feel like doing it. And he wouldn't show up. And it's like, there's only one person to blame, but he adamantly will tell you it was not his fault that business failed.
Yeah, of course. It's really hard to blame yourself. It's really hard to blame yourself because once you start blaming yourself, you realize that all the things that you've done up to this point were not right. They were wrong. So now how can it be your fault that you've gone all this way and now all of a sudden you're at the end of the game and it's not working? So it's got to be the system, the product, or the leadership. It can't be you. So I think that's going to bring us to our next, well, what our topic of conversation is that entrepreneurship and how you need to be self-sufficient, or your goal is to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and obviously self-accountable. And we were just talking on that founders call about what we were talking about earlier, the fact that, you know, if you start it now, if you start your process now, or if you're in the process of doing it now, it's hard to completely fail if you're laying it out like it's supposed to. I mean, there's too many people that are succeeding for it not to succeed, or for you not to succeed if you're doing the right steps. So I think that's what we want to talk about a little bit today, being in front of that trend that is inevitably happening, which I think the ship is sailing right now. So it's, you know, just like Sandra said, she took her offline business, put it online, and moved it digitally. So, but we haven't heard much from the dynamic mother-daughter duo twins over here. Hi.
Hi.
What's going on over there?
Hello.
Drinking tea.
Oh, nice. So what's your take on, you know, you guys are in this now, and you've been here for a couple months. I don't want to keep saying that you're new, because you're not. You've been here quite a while now, and you've been on this Hangout for a while now, and you guys have been participating and adding value. So where do you guys see yourself as far as the responsibility role that you have to take as entrepreneurs? Do you guys hold yourself accountable, or are you just like, no one saw that?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, we have to hold ourselves accountable.
We hold each other accountable.
We do help each other a lot. And sometimes when I've said to Jade before, I don't know whether I'd be able to have continued to do what I'm doing if I'd have been on my own. I think I would have had too many distractions within the home here. Whereas with Jade being here, working with me, she's actually, unbeknown to her probably, but she's helped me through quite a lot of situations where probably, you know, I've sometimes, you know, had enough. I'm tired. I think it's because of all the new things that, you know, the things that happen within the day of caring for somebody that sometimes drains you of the energies. Whereas I know that I'm supposed to be, my responsibilities today are to do the broadcasts and the blogs and check the Facebook ads. And that's my responsibility. And, you know, Jade's out at work at the most of the time. And I have to do them because I know that she's going to come home and check to see if I've done them or not. So, you know, and in a way, you know, that's good because we work together. That's how we work as our team, because sometimes we, you know, we all need that little push to help us move, whether it be your mentor or your partner or, you know, whoever that may be. You know, you need that little push sometimes to go and do things that probably, you know, you're not good at, or I should say I didn't used to be good at, but I'm getting a lot better at it because I'm doing the 30-day challenge, and with doing that you have to find content. So then you have to read and you have to, you know, explore different things and think of new ideas. And that really has helped us and put us on the right tracks. And understandably, whether it gets you anywhere, you know, anywhere as in, you know, leads and things like that coming into the business, at this point in time, what we're looking at is, you know, learning how to do this better. And there's a lot of information, you know, on Google and on, you know, people that post things that you can actually read, and it gives you some different insights. So, oh, I think I could do something like that. So you get your I mean, the best time for me anyway is the mornings. I like my mornings. That's when I get up. That's when I start doing, mainly preparing for my day on what I'm going to be doing. And you know, sometimes my dad will stay in bed until about 10 o'clock, which is great for me because I have a good few hours there where I can actually concentrate on what I'm going to be talking about and doing today and coming up with ideas, you know. So that's how we work it. And of course, again, we make each other accountable. But I think that I also feel that watching other people and what they do with their business sort of encourages me also. You know, oh, I haven't done this for a while. If it's something I've come across and I think, oh, I haven't put anything on there for a while, or I haven't done this for a while. So other people do help me as well to make us accountable.
Yeah, there's always a good reminder out there watching other, especially leaders in the industry, watching what they're doing and then doing that.
That's right. Exactly.
The right thing to do. You model them and move forward.
Well, I think that's what you have to do at the beginning because you don't know what you're doing. So you have to look at other people and look what they're doing and how they do it, and you have to really, you know, copy them. You know, when you listen to all the hangouts and, you know, the mastermind classes with Guy and Elan, you know, that's what we're all doing, is copying somebody else. You know, and try and making it work for us, and then it probably doesn't work, and then you actually go and ask somebody else and say, well, you know, I've put this together. There's plenty of help out there to, you know, to help you achieve that.
Yeah, the ironic thing about the watching other people and copying from other people is that the traditional way is the complete opposite of that. We're taught our whole lives not to copy other people, not to look at other people for, you know, don't cheat off of that person, don't look at what they're doing. Do your own work, do your own work, do your own work, do your own work. And then we get to a point in our lives where we're stuck in that mind frame, and then we constantly do our own work, and then we realize, well, that doesn't work. So I spent the last 25 years figuring out how to do my own work when I can get so much farther ahead if I can collaborate with people and join a team and mastermind and get ideas from other people and help other people do their job better, and in turn they help me do my job better, and teamwork. And that's just not taught, and I'm only speaking from a U.S. school system point of view, but that's not taught in our system. Our system is taught to keep your eyes on your own paper, look ahead, and don't bother with anybody else's stuff. Do your own work, mind your own business, and that doesn't work. People don't get ahead that way.
No,
you know, that should be an indicator right there to everyone. And I guess it was a big indicator to me ever since I was a kid. So I've always fought the system. I've always been called the black sheep, the rebel, you know, I've always fought the system. But at school, yes, during your education, you're always taught, you know, do your own thing, don't copy, don't cheat, you know, because if you copy, you cheat, you know, do your own work, do your own work, do your own work. Then you leave school and you go for job interviews, right? Whether you're young and you're going for a job interview at Macca's or Hungry Jack's, KFC, right? The first thing they ask you is, are you a team player?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a team player. Then you go in there and they train you to be like everyone else. So all your life at school, you've been taught, do your own thing, do your own thing, do your own thing, don't copy everyone. And then all of a sudden you leave school and you start going through your work, the get a job system. And at the get a jobs, all the jobs you go for, they all do the same thing. You have to fall in line with the other workers. You have to be the same. If the people before you cleaned it this way, you got to clean it that way. We don't want somebody who's entrepreneurial thinking. We don't want you to tell us that there's a better way to do it, because this is the way our business has been doing it the whole time. So, you don't go to the manager and say, listen, you'd be better off cleaning that first before you cleaned that, because when you clean that, it's slowing you down. They don't want to know that. Or, somebody coming to them and saying, oh, well, if you put that up there and put that in there, it'll actually work a lot better. No, they don't want to know that. This is the way it's done. We have a protocol, and this is the way it's done.
Yeah, they've already written.
But when you're entrepreneurial thinking like I am, you don't fare too well in those sort of jobs. You get a lot of backlash. I mean, I had a lot of jobs. Hospitality. In my younger days, I worked in a lot of hospitality. I never had any female friends in the hospitality industry, because they used to talk about me behind my back because I was always different. I'd argue with the manager. In one restaurant that I was working in, I told the manager, I said, look, why don't you just go back over there and shove your head in the sand and get out of my way, because you're slowing it down. And he couldn't sack me because I used to have lunch in the split shift with the bosses of the restaurant, and they knew that I always took more tips than anyone else because I focused on the core of the restaurant, the customers.
Yeah.
When it was quiet and there was a new restaurant open up next door to us one time, and they were stealing all the business because it was like some cheap, nasty pizzeria place, buy one, get one free. I ended up barreling myself out on the front footpath with some menus, and I was chatting to people as I was walking past. They'd go and have a look at that menu, then they'd come back to the restaurant and I would walk them in. So I'm out on the footpath, touting business for the restaurant, filling the restaurant, and making tips as I go along. But I was sort of like, I could be anywhere at any one time. Dessert chef didn't show up out in the kitchen. I could be serving tables, taking orders, and preparing desserts in the kitchen. No one knew how to use the coffee machine. I'd done a barista course a few months before. So I'd be waiting on tables, serving food, and making the coffees, and teaching staff at the same time how to layer a latte. Because you're in a classy restaurant, you can't just give a milky latte like they do from a cheap coffee shop like Zarraf's down the road. You have to layer your latte because it's in a glass. In a restaurant, people, this is how you do it. So I was always different. So I never had any friends when I worked in hospitality. I was always the one everyone talked about behind my back. And did I care? No.
No. You have to. They teach you to be everywhere in school, to be the one person, but as an entrepreneur, you have to think outside the box and be an individual, but have the ability to think outside the box and just get ideas from other places. And if you're stuck in corporate America or corporate anywhere, and you're just stuck on doing things the way they do it, you're almost being trained not to be an individual, and that's that takes you completely out of the game. Jay, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
How doing, Lee? You can see I'm pretty happy at the minute. I've just come off some training with Troy Prime guys, and they've just blown my mind.
Yeah, those guys are fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. How's the webinar going? Good?
It's good. It's good.
I'm a bit late.
We're talking about a little bit of everything today, actually, which is kind of cool. We don't get to do that very often.
Well, that's good. You've got a new backdrop.
Yeah, I'm starting to sit down a little bit more because the lighting in that other room got bad for some reason. So.
You look more confident when you were stood up.
What's that?
You look more confident when you were stood up.
I know. I just like to move around too much.
We've seen
I can't stand here. The desk is so low here. I'll do it when I get in another room. I got to change some lighting around. This is my office. My office is usually the other way around, but I've got the back side of it now. So
good to see you, Steve. I haven't seen you for a while. Is he there?
He's there. Well, he was there.
Hello, everybody else as well.
So what's up? What was it? Little gold training today?
No, we're on the Tribe Mastermind with Guy Elan and Jason Horning.
Oh, right on.
But just so excited, really am. And you can certainly see why the guys who are like moving towards the top of the leaderboard have come off the back of Guy and Elan's training and just like crushing it. But you don't have to have that, of course. I mean, you look at Ollie and he's doing well, and he hasn't had that. So, but the stuff they're showing us is just gobsmacking.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we're talking about today is how, in order to succeed as an entrepreneur, you have to be able, like Mastermind, you have to be able to share that experience and grow together and kind of share your experience and back and forth, because you can't get all the ideas on your own. You have to be able to, and then in a traditional sense, they don't teach you to do that as you're growing up. They teach you to keep to yourself, mind your own business, and then just like a mastermind, you know, if every single one of us was expected to do everything on our own, there's no way we would succeed. Not at the level of averages that is happening right now. So
yeah, you just have to be around people who are in that arena. And you know, Jason was talking and Guy and Elan, and Jason just popped up with something that Guy and Elan hadn't even thought about, and they were like, "Oh my God, there's the light bulb!" And just through Mastermind and being in that discussion, just new things were just popping out all over the place. It was incredible.
Yeah, just being in a room surrounded by people that are all focused on the same thing makes it a lot easier to come out with great, brilliant ideas.
Definitely.
Cool. So, Jade and Leslie, we didn't heard much from you, Jade.
Staying quiet. I don't really know where to move on to from what Mum said. Things that are happening, what's been happening in the Founders Call, we were gonna touch on.
Yeah. Do you want to kick off with that? We were going to talk about kind of like going from where you were working before to what you're doing now. What are the benefits of actually transitioning into the digital economy and becoming a digital entrepreneur? How does that benefit you? How is that better than sitting in an office space? Or I don't know. What were you doing before? You were in the nursing industry, weren't you?
She's still doing that.
Okay.
Manager, bar. Lovely job. Yeah.
Steve's in a thunderstorm right now, so he's in and out.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you know, with the Founders Call last week, it, you know, blew us away with all the information that was given, and how it's all going to, you know, the vision that, you know, Stuart and Jay have, you know, for the future, and they were talking about going into 2015 and how things are all going to change, and you know, even though I can't remember individual things that they were talking about, how the commissions were going to change and how things were going to be more like certified for the silver and gold, but it was absolutely. We just really appreciate all the effort they put into and their thoughts of everything they actually, you know. I sometimes wonder where they come. Well, they're entrepreneurs, aren't they? I shouldn't wonder where they come up with their ideas. I just find it quite amazing for them to come up, you know, keep finding new ways and new things to do constantly. I find that really amazing. What did you think about it, Sandra?
I loved it. It was one of the most exciting Founders Calls I have ever been on, and I've been with the SFM since 2012, and I was on the edge of my seat. Well, like you know, I had 2.5 hours sleep before that Founders Call, and I sat there for the whole 2.5 hours, and 20 minutes into the Founders Call, I was awake. My ears had pricked, and I'm like, seriously? I have joined the best business system in the world. This is awesome. I cannot wait to see all these improvements that they're rolling out. I mean, the improvements with the simple lead capture pages. we're gonna have thank you pages with that now as well, and it was just like, yeah, I was like mind blown. I was just like sitting outside, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This is going to be really, really cool. And I mean, I had an inkling that they were going to retail some of the products in the DEA line, but I didn't know that they were going to go ahead with it so soon. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, I mean, Bugger and Power Network or anyone else, you got nothing on us guys over here. This business system is the best business system you'll ever come across.
I think
absolutely top-notch number one.
I think everybody on that call was like that, Sandra. I was speaking to like 4 people at the time, and I was just getting wow across the board, and people were just like, I filmed the video and I'd had a couple of beers because I just came from the pub, but I was like, I might as well have been standing on the table. I was so excited. I was like, Chris. He was out at the time with his girlfriend, and I was texting him going, you will not believe this, and he was like, oh my god, get me out of this restaurant. And it was amazing, and what a company, what a couple of guys, and what a vision. Incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. They just keep adding and adding and adding and adding, and it doesn't seem as though it's stopping anytime soon. I think, even just being out, even though they said they don't have a 10-year plan, to say that's on paper, like Stuart once said, he goes, his exit strategy is dying. He doesn't. There's no near-term plans of going, all right, I'm going to get to this point, and then we're out. I mean, there's just no telling where it could possibly be, and that's, again, trying to get in front of that. Where we were talking about getting in front of a trend, I think that this trend, this Digital Experts Academy, and what it's going to offer the industry, not what it's going to, what it actually does offer the industry right now, and the ability to be able to get in front of that and be part of that and be on that bandwagon, or be the bandwagon, as they so put it, while people start jumping on, because eventually you're not going to have a choice but to transition and figure out how to do it this way, because the old business model is slowly dying, and if you're stuck with it and you're stuck in that way of doing things, you're not going to be able to move forward in life. And being with this group, or just learning how to do it, whether it's with us or not, just learning how to do what we do, or what we're learning to do, or what is working, is going to be your only way to move on into the future. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck standing still, working at a KFC, being told what to do and how to clean toilets, which isn't that bad, I guess, if you're doing it. But if you don't like it, there's something else to do.
Well, the great thing about waking up to the fact that we are transitioning, and we have been transitioning to a digital economy, for the last 10 years, and for the last 5 years, it's been moving at an exponential rate. I mean, there isn't a large company in the world that you can't find online. They all have online websites. They're all hooked in to the mainstream media of what's going on. Newspapers, media conglomerates, they're all online. A lot of their stories they source through their fan base. They don't have to go out and search anymore. A lot of journalists, hook up a profile on a social media site and then start hooking up with just normal people, and they get their stories from these people. They don't have to, go and source the stories anymore. They've got them there. They've got a whole list of them there. It's, the digital economy is happening. Mm-hmm. It's happening in banks. It's happening in stores. It's happening everywhere. And you've got to find a way to get involved in that. There's going to be a lot of people who are still going to like their labouring jobs and still going to like the traditional economy, and that's fine. We need those. We need those type of people. But if you're a person who has a passion and you're stuck in a job that does not fuel your passion, then you're crazy to stay there. With all the tools and the available help that there is in this day and age, you are insane to sit and be stuck in a job that you absolutely loathe, that is causing you stress and killing you. Get the hell out. I mean, I joined the SFM and the DEA, because I had a passion for my aloe vera. So I joined this, and when I joined SFM I was driving a cab, studying at a business college to get my business diploma, and I added the SFM on top of it. Yeah, I couldn't get out of my job straight away, but eventually I did get out of that job of driving the taxi, and I retired. Basically, I retired, and I ran with my passion, and I love it. I feel like I'm on holidays every day. But people have got to learn. People have got to understand that it's all becoming digital. Just like Jay said on the founders call, Stuart introduced him to a booking system instead of having to wait for a cab all the time. I think it was called Uber Cars or something.
Yeah.
He was talking about on the founders call. And he was saying a lot of people in his area don't even know or have a Facebook profile. They don't even know what the service is for. So, and the best way to learn about the digital economy is to join a community that is flowing with the digital economy, like our community, our business community. We flow with it. We got founders who are visionaries and they like to keep things up to date. They have their finger on the pulse, so you're not getting left behind. So now's the time.
Yeah, and I mean, not even now it's people have to understand that they have options. They don't have to. For a while now, they were just if they were in a place that they were unhappy, they were just stuck there. Well, what else am I going to do? There aren't any other jobs available. I can't go do this. I don't have a degree for this. It's too late for me to go back to school. How can I go back to school and still be able to maintain for my family? What people have to understand now is that now there's an option. Now you can do that. Now you can go back and learn a new skill while still supporting your family. Now you can learn a new skill that you can apply immediately and maybe start to make a little money while you're actually learning. Earn while you learn. There's that option. There's a whole different option when that's available now. So there's training involved. I mean, there's training available. There's skill sets that need to be learned. But you can do that all and still not. You don't have to move away and go to a college and do all these other high expensive things that you used to have to do. Now the option is, I can log into my back office, learn the skills that I need to do, apply the skills, and then scale them. And those are 3 pretty simple processes that you could be doing on a daily basis in an hour or 2 a day and some time on the weekends or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, as far as if you're stuck somewhere where you don't want to be stuck, you have an option now. And there's really no more excuses for you to say, well, I'm in a dead-end job, I'm going to die doing this. You might, but you don't have to. Not to sound grim or anything, but...
That's pretty great.
Steve, I don't know if Steve's with us or not, but I know he had something to say here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You there?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. While you can still hear me, there were a couple of things that have just been said. Sandra talked about network and the difference between our business system and their business system and all the rest of it. I loathe and detest doing comparisons. The one thing that you will receive in the DEA and the SFM is a holistic training that means that you can transfer the skills that we teach to any business. We're not just teaching you to be super affiliates to one offer, which, unless I'm very much mistaken, is exactly what David and David do in Empower. They teach to blog, they teach to sell their system.
Good point, Steve.
There is nothing else. We have a substance here and a strength in depth that people coming in that mix cement for a living can make more money by applying what we teach. People that drive lorries for a living, that employ 100 lorry drivers, can employ the skills that we and develop their business within an existing framework. These skills are applicable in any area, whether you're a beautician, a hairdresser, a mechanic, a frickin' brain surgeon, anything. You look at Siri, he came in, he was a 6-7 figure earner when he started in his accountancy. He came into this to get his life back. So there are things that between these two things. And when Sandra says this is the best thing out there, it's the only thing out there that will give you all those skills. The other thing about the traditional economy and the digital economy, which Yuli said, the analogy that I use and that I've heard Jay use in particular, is if you imagine a great big electric fan, when you unplug it, the fan doesn't have a brake. It doesn't just stop. It will carry on spinning. Right now, the traditional economy has been unplugged. It's still spinning, but it's slowing down, and it's slowing down, and it's slowing down. It's imperceptible because there's so much momentum and weight, but it's dead. And where we are, we're at the cutting edge of the cutting edge. We're on the sharp end of the point because we're leading in such a way that you cannot ever go backwards. When companies have learned how to market directly to people, how to interact directly with customers, why would you need an advertising agency when with a social media manager you can get direct feedback exactly from the people that use your product? Why would you waste $100,000 a year employing Saatchi and Saatchi when for 50 grand a year you can employ some beanbag who's going to sit and play on Facebook, but will get more accurate feedback and target your product more directly to the people that use it? Things can't go backwards. Once these things have been discovered and started to be integrated, you will never undo them. And now we have them. It's a dramatic paradigm shift, and you can't undo it. You cannot undo it. You can't suddenly turn around to Procter & Gamble and say, hey guys, stop hashtag I don't want to see it on Facebook. They're not going to stop. Right. If you want to learn about nappies, deodorant, shaving cream, you name any Procter & Gamble product, it's all there on Facebook. And they've got one spotty-faced kid sitting in Newcastle as a social media manager, putting things up. And Facebook keep trying to change the rules, and the spotty-faced kid keeps up with them. Yeah. So, sorry, I just think there were two really important things that were kind of skated over, are actually the crux of what we do. And I very rarely get this serious, but this is important shit. And if people want to have a real option to continue to provide, and I said to Sandra, I'm scared, when she said, well, you do this or you don't. There are so many people clinging on to the wreckage. I'm really scared, even now, and I've been involved with this, I'm still scared to hang my keys up, because I know that by going and sitting in a lorry for 70 hours a week, I know that I will get so many pounds that will pay my bills, because it's always been the case. Not for much longer. If you look online and you go Google automated trucks, trucks are now being built by Scania that when you're going less than 15 miles an hour, the lorry drives. You don't. You don't touch the steering wheel, you don't touch the brakes, the pedals, nothing. The first electric automatic cars are coming to the UK in the next 12 months where you don't drive. So honestly, what am I going to do for a living? There's going to be no need. If I don't do this and market and get the people who want to meet the product, which is all we do, if I don't do that and get paid for it, I ain't going to do anything. Anyway, sorry, I've gone on, but I just felt that those 2 points were really crucial, and we couldn't afford to skate over them because people really need to understand where we are. And yeah, we're on the cutting edge. We're so far on the cutting edge that actually we're falling off, and then we're just getting swept by the movement of the thing coming forward. It is so precipitous, and it's scary, and we're doing things that sometimes don't work, and you've just got to go back a step and then run another 100. And where we've got a major advantage is Stuart Ross and Jay Kubasek are so attuned and so careful with what they implement on our behalf that they don't ever want us to be wholly dependent on them. And they're not that arrogant, because one day they may just turn around and go, do you know what? I've got enough money. Do you know what? I just want to spend time with my dog. And none of us will be in a situation where we go, oh shit, what do we do now? Because we know what to do now, because they will have equipped us and they will have empowered us to see over the hill and to have the vision.
Yeah,
and I think
that's the make of a true leader, is having that ability to propel, to not only show people the way, but to carry them in your wake. And that's about this industry. If you get in it, and I'm not saying with this particular company, I'm just saying knowing the skills and having the skills. If you get in front of that, you'll get pulled along with the wake. You'll just be on top of that when it all, like that avalanche, when that all piles up, you'll be at the top of that, not down below where everybody that's following you is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even like what you say, like a couple skills, the skills that you need to even do whatever, even a cement maker or cement mixer can move forward. Like even just a couple of skills. I'm promoting a race, and just from the couple things, little things that I've learned from being a member, being in this community, our registrations have increased by 10 times just by being able to, like you said, putting it on Facebook, directly targeted to the people I want to see my ads, directly for the price I want it, when I want it, where they're from, what they do, and where I want them to go. It's that measure, and it just works. And then the people that I would never be able to communicate that message to if I didn't know those skills. Like I would be still hanging signs on the at the bike path.
The only way you could guarantee getting that message to them would be to pay a huge amount of money to make sure that everybody got the message.
Right.
So the people that you wanted to receive it, you knew that you covered everybody, so that the half of the 1% that you were targeting got it. And this is where digital marketing is so efficient.
Yeah, it's like buying a whole factory of M&Ms just to get the green ones.
Absolutely.
Like now I know where to go for my green M&Ms.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah, there's a big bucket of green M&Ms sitting there. I'm just going right to that bucket.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
When you bought all those, you have the green ones because I love red ones.
Yeah, well, I'll siphon them all out and get you the red ones.
That's cool. I'll have your spare traffic, which is exactly the same concept.
But like we've been trying to say exactly that the options are there for you, and then you do have the ability to learn these skills and be able to be self-sufficient and be able to step away from the stuff that you don't want to be around. There's no reason why you shouldn't be taking steps to position yourself in front of that wave where you're going to just be kind of carried along with it. You have to do the work, obviously. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, it's a long process. It is a process. That process gets easier the more you learn, and you can ask anybody on this panel that it does. Jay, you're fresh out of the military. How long have you been with the 6 Fair Mentor? 6 months?
5.5 months now.
5.5 months. And
not that it's counting.
Yeah, no. 5 minutes, 28 days, and 6 hours.
Yeah.
Is it getting easier? I mean, not easier. Are you? Yeah. Is it getting easier?
It's getting easier to deal with the problems that are thrown at you. You get a tolerance for things going wrong, finding solutions to problems, because it seems like, just like everyday life really, there's always a problem, there's always something niggling away at you causing a problem, but you learn better ways to deal with things, and it does get easier, yeah, it definitely does. But you learn all the stuff in the beginning, and then you want to push yourself further, so you're always pushing yourself, so it's about how easy you want to make it, really.
Yeah.
Don't know whether that made sense.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can make it as hard as you want. I mean, we can make everything in life hard. It's not supposed to be hard. It's a process involved.
One thing that Jay's touched on there is focus on single tasks, focus on single projects. I think it's very the one downside to our system is because they do teach everything.
Yeah.
And the challenge that so many people have is, oh shit, I've just learned banners. Now they want me to do solos, and I've got to do Facebook next week, and I'm supposed to be doing a blog tomorrow, and I've got to do a video. Man alive! Oh shit, okay, Stuart's talking. I've just got off a webinar with Greg and Fiona, and now I've got a cocktail call to do. Yes, dear. And you've got to know and say, hold on a minute, I got into work 4 hours a week, and all of a sudden I'm doing 18. You just need to stop, and you need to know what bits you are relevant to you. And it's the old buffet, the old smorgasbord thing. You don't eat everything on a buffet. You don't go to a supermarket and have one of everything.
Give it a go.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but you'll need a bigger trip than mine to get it all home. The challenge is knowing what's relevant for you, and I think for people just starting, they have to try everything. They have to do, and they will come out of the place, with prawn cocktail smeared on the face and bits of meringue. Oh God, this is really exciting. Yes, but it's not a balanced diet, so let's just calm down. We want beef sandwiches with some jelly. And that's all you need. You need beef sandwiches and jelly.
I was going to say the good thing you touched on there, Steve, about focusing on one task is there is always a cost involved. If you jump from post to post, whether it's a financial cost or timely cost, it will always cost you. So if you can focus in on one, you will be a lot more efficient with your time and your money.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And you have to become a finisher. And the girl I was talking to today, I said, how many open files have you got that you've not finished? Oh, well, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Well, there's your problem. Finish one. Finish something. And run with it for 16 weeks. If you don't finish anything, you've never completed a task. You have to become a finisher. And that's why, unfortunately, I've checked out for the last month, because we've had so much going on. And you have to prioritise, and you have to put the skill and the time where it's needed. So it's lovely to be back, and I've really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back, and you bring some great insight to the call. So I mean,
thank you.
It's not wasted on us for sure.
Everybody's been shutting off in their droves, but you guys have enjoyed it, so that's good.
No, I think it's valuable information, and the smorgasbord and the buffet analogy again is great, because I find myself in that boat a lot. All right, I've got a certain amount of time to do something. How much of this can I eat? Not just how much of this salad can I eat, but how much of everything can I eat? How much can I possibly take in? And then where am I? And then I'm just some big fat guy in the corner, overeating.
Yeah, but it's worse than that, isn't it? Because you go to the buffet and you come back with glass bowls that you can't get in the suitcase, you can't get home, and if you could get them home, you wouldn't be able to fit them in your own bloody dishwasher. Why have you taken those? They were on the buffet. Yes, but you don't. Yeah, but it was on the buffet. And you've got a 73-inch mirror to the display salmon on. Well, it's on the buffet.
I had to eat it.
It's not for you. So take what you need. Okay.
Yeah, it's you have to pick what's good for you, what's going to be best for you, what's great for your diet, what's going to make you feel the best, what you're good at, what you connect with, and run with that. Otherwise, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Well, it's been, we're over our hour mark, and I don't want to drag us out too much longer. I know people have things to do, and it's tough to sit down for more than an hour and watch a video, but I want to kind of run through and Jay, you're about to split. You want any last words real quick?
No, I mean, just listen to what the guys have said on the panel today. They're talking some great logic, and there's some big things happening in the SFM and the DEA, and brilliant thing Jay said the other night. He says, do you want to be at the back of the bandwagon with everyone else, or the front driving the way this industry and your life is going? So that's my little finishing touch.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know you got to split. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for popping on.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you later, buddy.
I'll see you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Leslie and Jay, any last words as we wrap this call up?
Oh, we've got a page full of notes, so.
Do ra mi lo.
Yeah, I just, we just know that we're in the best business. We're just surrounded by such awesome people, such knowledgeable people. We just can't help but, we can't fail. We will succeed because we've surrounded ourselves with the people that we would want to be surrounded by anyway. People like yourselves. We've got great experience on this panel. There's Sandra that's been here. She's just like finds if you can want anything finding and a quick way around it, then Sandra's going to do it. And Steve, of course, you know, he's been around a long time in this business again, and I just feel that it's absolutely amazing for ourselves to be part of this, and also hopefully we do contribute some things to the new people. But we learn quite a lot from this as well. You know, I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic, the people that come on the panel that offer so much all of the time. And like yourself, Yuli, I mean, you've had a lot of experience. You're fantastic at running these and getting the best out of people as well. So we just know that we're in the right place, and you know, there is just no way that we can fail in this. Absolutely no way we can fail. That's our decisions.
Yeah, that's a great decision to have. And you're right. You know, it's not about, you know, it is a great company, you know, and it is a great business model, and our leadership is outstanding. But like you said, you're in the right place, and you're in the right place at the right time. And
Yeah.
you know, wherever that is for you, or wherever that is individually for anybody, you just have to position yourself in the right place at the right time. And for me, and I'm assuming for everyone else we've spoken to today, we're in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
That's a great point. Jade, any last words?
Not really. Enjoyed coming on tonight, and yeah, being in the right place at the right time seems to fit at the moment, especially with all the changes and everything that are happening with the SFM, and how much they've invested a lot of money to invest their time into us, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I think that's pretty special, considering they've got their money. In hindsight, you know, they've probably got enough money to live and survive a reasonable life, but they're still thriving on trying to push us and trying to offer us more, to be able to succeed and to be able to be in their position. So yeah.
Yeah, they definitely don't have to be doing what they are doing.
No.
You know, they could probably be sitting back on their laurels right now and expecting the affiliates and the rest of the team to do all the work. But I'd say they probably work as hard, if not harder, than anybody else involved in the company. And that's not something that you see. You know, where the CEOs and the founders that had started the whole thing work harder than most of the people involved in the business. So it's good to see. They're good people to model their work ethics, and they're good people to just be surrounded by, because they do such a important job, and they do it well.
They do. I agree.
Yeah. Sandra, any last words?
Yeah, I just have a few last words. You know, find your passion, then find a good business community, and get involved in it, and start learning about the digital economy, because that is the wave of the future. And if you want to see how being involved in a really good business system like the Six Figure Mentors has helped somebody who has a passion, because I had a passion about aloe vera and the products that I've got, you can visit me at onestopaloeshop.com.
Awesome. And I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. Steve, thanks again for popping back on. Any last words from you?
In response to Leslie and Jade, the only difference between themselves and me was 2 years.
Yeah.
And the difference between myself and Jay Kubizak is 8 years. The difference between myself and Stuart Ross is 7 years.
Yeah.
It's only time, determination to do what you want to do, and if you have a big enough reason why, nobody with any sense will get in your way and try and stop you. The whole point of where we've been tonight, the whole point about community, everybody is really kind and looks up and says, "Oh, Steve, good. The point about that is, I've been in a really difficult place in the last 3 weeks. People in this community, that for the first time, I've been able to say, actually, help. and people have been really kind and come and helped me. And the point about why I'm sharing that is no matter who you are and how strong you think you are, there is nothing wrong ever with saying, do you know what? I've lost my coat button. I need help.
Yeah.
And there is nothing to be ashamed of in saying I need help. And I wouldn't have made the last 3 weeks without Marie Santos and Sacha. And if they're watching, thank you. You know why, and it's really special. So don't ever think that you don't. The reason I'm sharing this, Leslie, especially for you, Leslie, don't think has little value. Your contribution has massive value, huge, because there are people watching this that are going, Jesus Christ, thank God there's somebody who is a bit like me that I can follow. They may not get in your business, but you have given countless people the confidence to go, do you know what? I can do this. And the whole point of these Hangouts is to share that vision with people. Because this is scary. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Inside, we're all a little kid going, Mum, I don't think I should be doing this. And she's going, no, you're right, dear. Pat, Pat, you're right, it's scary, you'll fall. Going back to the beginning, mothers cherish and they protect. So, Leslie, you've done an incredible job, and I, for one, am really glad that you're here and with us, because it brings a complete vision of the sort of people that this business is for. Okay?
Yeah.
If anybody else out there wants to get in touch with a grumpy fat lorry driver, bluecollarmillionaires.com is where you'll find me. Everybody else has got their... If you want to know where the rubber meets the road, this guy will tell you. All right? Yuli, thanks ever so much for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. I've really enjoyed myself.
And like everybody said, this isn't a business that's specifically catered to one person. Like our panel is, we're from, the far reaches of the globe, all different ages. We've had people in here of all different, from everywhere. This isn't for everybody, but it is for anybody.
Absolutely.
So anybody can do exactly what they want to do. Anybody can be wherever they want to be, and I'm extremely proud of everybody here and everybody who's doing this and just going for it and not listening to the little bird in the back of your head saying, no, you should probably not do that, or listen to the people that are trying to hold you down and fighting past them. And like Steve said, if you think you're going in the right direction, there isn't a single person that... There's a lot of people that will try to stop you, but there isn't a single person that will stop you. So I think that'll do it for this week, huh, guys?
That's a wrap.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. We'll see you next week, and maybe we'll have some new members. Maybe we'll have some different panels, same panel, and we'll see you again. See you guys. Thank you very much.
See ya. Bye.
See you, everyone.
Bye.